Welcome to Second Take, the show that focuses on the issues behind the news. This week, South African output rises as AngloGold delivers at a lower cost. Revolutionary gold mining machine is making progress, and the modernization of mining operations is essential to contribute towards the survival of the South African mining industry. Mining Weekly editor Martin Creamer unpacks the headlines. Welcome, Martin.
Hi, Sashni.
Now, AngloGold Ashanti's South African footprint has delivered impressive first quarter results.
Isn't it incredible? You know, in the 90s, I would go to the gold division of Anglo American. It was colossal. You could get so much news out of there because there was just gold activity everywhere. Then before the turn of the century, the division of Anglo American that had gold listed in New York, where they had big lions on the stage, and also the primary listing was in Johannesburg, and it became AngloGold Ashanti. But it was still a mighty South African base. Of course, it spread into 21 countries, and you can see those 21 countries have now eclipsed South Africa to a point where AngloGold Ashanti is a pale shadow of what the Anglo-American gold division was. It now represents 13% of the total portfolio, the global portfolio of AngloGold Ashanti. And it's down to one underground mine, one underground mine and one surface operation which wasn't really theirs. They bought it. So you've got a tailings retreatment facility. So it is really, when it comes to South Africa now, AngloGold Ashanti is hardly a South African company. When they talk, they tell you about the wonderful things that are happening in Australia and how those guys are increasing their position from project level. They tell you about the wonderful things that they've got, doing a partnership in the DRC, that they're talking to the DRC government, going to sort out things. They're talking to the Tanzanian government, probably going to sort out things at Gaita, and how they are moving from a low-grade position now, but by the end of the year, they'll be high-grade. You go into South America, now Brazil is doing okay. Fortunately, though, the fortunes have turned in South Africa. So you've got this one deep mine, Umpaneng, the deepest mine in the world, approaching 4 kilometers. But it pushed out a lot more output. So that was good news, that South Africa is also showing the world it can do things if you sort of focus. And then their surface area, the tailings treatment also did well. But the big thing is that they're doing it at a lower cost. Even though their volumes here are down, their values are up. And that looks like what is going to be the trend in gold. I mean, it is pitiful. The gold situation at the moment is really pitiful. But they did a fairly good transaction with Harmony Gold. So, we'll see Moab develop under Harmony Gold in probably a better way than it would have under AngloGold Ashanti. But the whole gold business at the moment in South Africa is a bit worrying. I mean, at this point in time, we are not registering on the world index here. When it comes, we're like below Peru, and we used to be way ahead as the biggest. The tragedy is that we've still got virgin territory. You've got the so-called Potchefstroom Gap and the Bothaville Gap. Haven't been touched because it's so deep. Yet we do know how to deep mine. So hopefully we'll have some big radical change here that can make sure we can do better with gold.
Now, AngloGold has also offered its reef boring technology to the mining Phakisa. So does this mean that it could find its way to the new Mandela mining precinct for additional research and development?
Well, we had high hopes for this reef boring technology. There was one stage where the developers looked at it and they said, no, this is going to be an answer to a maiden's prayer. You would take the reef, you take the gold, and only the gold, 24 hours a day. And it was going to be a boring process. So even the little edges, they had plans to get that gold out. So you'd get all the gold. It looked pretty good. But what has happened now, where it was being researched and developed and rolled out at Tautana, mining has ceased there. So you now have the situation where AngloGold Ashanti offered this to the mining Phakisa. Now, the mining Pakisa is a national endeavour by the government at this late stage to try and catch up in mining. You know, you think they would have started earlier because we've lost so much. So you got the Pakisa, and then this has given rise to the Mandela mining precinct. So it was put to AngloGold Ashanti, what are you doing with this reef boring technology? They said, well, they had offered it under certain specific conditions to the mining Pakisa. But then Mining Weekly put to them, you know, what about going directly now to the Mandela mining precinct? Can't you offer it to them? And the indication was, yes, they'd be prepared to do that. But of course, research and development isn't the core business of these mining companies. It should never have been. You know, we used to have COMRO, which is the Chamber of Mines Research Organization, doing that sort of thing in advance, letting the mines concentrate on their output. It was a great gesture that they actually got involved and tried to make sure we did something different at deep level to make things safer and more productive, and do continuous mining round the clock, which would have changed the whole mining scenario. But you know, the way the price has gone and the way things have happened, you have to close certain mines for economic decisions, and then that has just left this technology. But hopefully now it'll be taken up by the Mandela mining precinct. Perhaps they can take this a bit further, or otherwise decide that this is not going to be the way we go, because there are other developments coming up that may be better. But at least it's one aspect that maybe can be tweaked, because it was actually producing close to commercial activity. But because of the big issues in gold mining, I mean, they've had to just look at getting the best out of their mines, and they couldn't keep concentrating on research and development, which is not their core business.
Now, South Africa has been urged to reclaim its competitiveness through research and development-led mining modernization.
Yes. You know, there is this opportunity to do something special in research and development, and AngloGold Ashanti are still continuing, you know, with the way you deal with backfill and the strength of backfill, and there's also other activities around equipment. But there's a much bigger picture emerging, and it's particularly at the Mandela mining precinct, where we, in this fourth industrial revolution period, you know, we could become the leaders in deep level mining and hard rock mining. That's where we need to put our heads together now and say, if we get this right, we can become, you know, the 4.0 leaders of the world at this, bringing in all this new technology, applying it to our very hard rock, which is 220 megapascals. Nobody mines with such hard rock. Applying it to our very narrow reef, which is often not even as high as this table, and applying it to our depth. It could be a solution that is then offered to the world. All these mines around the world are going to get to a deep level. If we have got a way of mining economically round the clock, which I think, with the heads being put together, they're going to try and do that, both for gold mining and platinum mining. It would not only be great for South Africa, because we could then go back into these closed mines like Tautona, Savuka. Well, Savuka's still a bit active, but all these mines that they've had to shut certain shafts, we could get back in there and not only mine the way we're doing it in a partial fashion, a few hours a day, but mine around the clock. It would change everything. It could put us back into the top level of gold production, and possibly even allow us to go into these virgin areas of the Bothaville Gap and the Potchefstroom Gap. So this is something that the Department of Science and Technology has recognized. You know, maybe this is an opportunity. They have put money into the Mandela mining precinct, and they put more money than business has. So government has got more money in there than business. But I'm sure if business can see that there's some hope coming through there, and it looks like the people in there are very intent on doing things the right way. You know, you've got 70 people in the hub, but there's a lot of spoke activity going out to the various universities. We should be trying our best to make sure we get a solution. And this could not only be great for our gold mining industry here, which would be safer, because you're getting to a point where the unions are saying we've got a human right to be able to go to work and not be killed in the process. Now, with that sort of attitude coming through from the unions, it could be a situation where there would have to be a decision taken. We can't go into certain areas. We can't mine here anymore because we can't control nature. The seismic activity, even with all these monitors, as the mines have said they've got, trying to pick up when there's going to be a seismic activity, it's certainly not a guarantee that there won't be rockfalls. So there could be a situation where people say, look, we cannot guarantee that you're not going to die under there, and if it's your human right, we can't mine in this area, so we'll close that and mine. So we will then get smaller and smaller. But if we come through with a great new fourth industrial revolution solution, it would be fantastic for our mining industry, gold mining industry, platinum mining industry particularly, but also it would make sure that we can come back up the pecking order of gold supply globally.
Thanks for speaking to us, Mark.
It's a great pleasure, Sashni.
That's it for today. Join us again next week for more news analysis on South Africa's mining industry.